Welcome to the Whiskey Vault.
I'm Rex.
I'm Daniel.
And this is Douglas and Todd.
Douglas and Todd.
Small batch bourbon
A
whiskey.
gift from Matt Roth.
Matt Roth, you magnificent
Bastard.
Fight.
So, Minnesota bourbon.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah, hold on. Go. So,
What?
Just listen to the reverb.
So, what is that? Oh, it's the flask! No way!
Flask is...
The resonant frequency of that flask is so. It's that note.
Do it again.
No, it's any note.
So,
Wow. That thing is picking up resonant frequencies
it's
in the
magic.
room.
It's magic.
No, it's only higher notes.
Okay.
The bass frequencies are too long. Okay.
Small batch means nothing, by the way.
No. Oh, it says small batch on it?
Well, it is, yeah.
Oh, it does say small batch. Yeah, it's no legal definition of that.
Handcrafted artisanal.
Here's the cool thing, though. It's 4 years old, so I was a little suspect of this whiskey.
Yeah?
I'm going to tell you why after we actually taste it.
Suspect. Okay, hold on. It's got some vibrance in there. There's character. And then...
There's this really...
reminds me of, like, grape nuts.
Yeah, green vanilla and nutty.
Yeah.
All simultaneous. So, like, it's almost like a trail mix with pine nuts in it.
Yeah. You say... I say that there's like a grapey fruitiness, almost a jamminess, mixed in with the grape nut graininess. And then the green element is there, but it's not overwhelming. It's like balanced up against these other
You know, it
things.
reminds me of what are those nuts that have like a slight green layer that you peel off when you're eating them, and they're kind of expensive. Pistachios. It reminds me of that.
A little bit. And the more I go back, the more the green element,
It's kind of
that
creeping to the top.
sappy, that sap note is growing, and the sweetness is kind of just staying the same. Tastes exactly like the nose, with a little different.
It's a little simpler.
Well, there's a little ding on the end of the finish with the.
Yeah, I would say that it goes burst and then flat middle round and then bing.
Right.
Like a turn the page note. Turn the page.
All right. So why were you suspect of this?
This company, Douglas and Todd, is a liquor company. They say it's a distillery. It's because that's how you have to do things in the U.S. to work with alcohol and sell it yourself.
Yeah.
But they have tequila.
Sure.
Not their brands.
Sure.
Like they're bringing in and partnering with whiskey from all over the world.
Sure.
And then selling it and I don't know how they're working out the tiers, but Minnesota may have some weird laws about that. They have Tomatin.
Okay.
They work with Tomatin.
That's
one of the things that they work with. Like several different tequilas.
It's a scotch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they decided to get into bourbons.
Okay.
So they made this.
So
now Douglas and Todd are not two dudes.
Okay.
It's the two counties where this company works in.
So this says on the front, distilled and aged 4 years in charred oak barrels in the varied climates of 2 historic Minnesota counties.
So I found out that Panther Distillery in Minnesota is who they're working with to make it.
Okay.
Panther Distillery, we haven't tried anything of.
Okay.
They're in Osaka, Minnesota. And that's who made the bourbon for them.
Okay.
So it is a Minnesota bourbon. So what I came to the conclusion of
was
was
crafty.
Good on you,
Right.
for venturing into a true Minnesota bourbon and not just doing another sourced from the like California company, Frank.
And there's
Lynn,
like
or things like that.
a walnut cinnamon molasses thing in there now too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was pleasantly surprised by this whiskey. The more I got into it, the more it opened up. It got a little more approachable. It still has that really pine, woody note.
Handmade oak barrels. So the big barrel companies.
All barrels are.
No, hold on. The big barrel companies.
Yeah.
All right. There's a couple. Kelvin Cooperage and what's the other one?
ICS.
ICS.
Independent Stave.
Are
Or
those,
ISC.
Do they still consider those handmade, or do they have so much machinery in that process that they don't even?
No, they're all of them are handmade. All of them have people putting staves into things, and then they're using machines mostly for compression purposes. Like compress the stem, drop the hoop over it, and
so
things
even
like
at the biggest level, like they haven't transition to a fully automated system.
I mean, maybe there's one on a bigger level than those two you just named that are like 100% machine automated, but I don't know of them.
Okay, yeah.
If you guys know, let us know.
Yeah. Okay, so hand bills.
Yeah, they definitely doubled down on all the non-policed terms.
Well,
yeah.
So here's the thing: we enjoy the whiskey. I am curious as to how varied the two distinct counties' climates are.
It's Minnesota.
Well,
there's only one climate. It's f***ing cold.
No, hold on.
And then in the summer, there's mosquitoes big enough that they have their own landing crew.
Hold on.
And the other mosquitoes are landing on your arm first, and then they're holding lights like this.
Both of us are very unfamiliar with the ways of Minnesota weather.
I've only been...
There could be different weather situations.
I've only been one
climates.
time. Well, I mean, I've driven through and played shows there. That didn't count.
Right.
But I went one time my whole life to stay for several days, and it was when it was negative 20 or whatever.
Yeah. And then for rested in two historic counties after 4 hard years in handmade oak.
Hard years.
Built to be a bourbon drinker's bourbon.
No.
I don't get classic.
No.
Here's the thing: classic big brand bourbon notes.
Right.
If a person loves like big brand bourbons coming out of Kentucky, this is leaning in a little bit more.
This is a big brand bourbon.
Old Crow.
Right? Let's try some Old Crow.
Is that a plastic bottle?
It is a plastic bottle because nothing but the best.
Right. So this is leaning in a little bit into the notes that I only really find in craft, which are nice notes. Right. There's definitely interesting things to be found in craft bourbon.
Dude.
All right, one more off of the Minnesota.
It's very simple on the taste, shockingly.
The cinnamon keeps coming alive every time I go back to the Minnesota here.
I think it's an interesting whiskey exploration. There's too much of that pine green note for me.
Yeah, you got the honey and you got that.
But the Old Crow is just a classic. See, that's classic bourbon.
Well, classic 40%
budget bourbon.
Budget bourbon, yeah.
Right? But I like it. I still...
Feels like...
you know what I'm... Here.
Like a little bottle of Scope. You know,
wonder
Scope
if
mouthwash
it is really.
Squeeze bottle.
I wonder if I blend a little Old Crow into this one, if it tamed down the pine notes.
You think you're going to find a little balance there? A little balance? Yeah?
Hey, I think it might have worked. Try that. It just tamed all the pine notes.
It did. It did, and it maintained that nutty, that graininess.
Yeah.
And the cinnamon.
So it maintained all the drama of this one, but tamed down the weird barrel notes.
Well, and
or whatever those notes are.
Kind of almost a sap, a little bit of a pine. Yeah. Yeah, I actually like it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But this didn't need a lot of help to begin with. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's fine.
Bob Farr, I'm standing here cooking. I decided to get a glass of bourbon. The pour finishes the bottle. I look at my phone and go to set it down and knock over my drink, spilling all but a sip. I'm pissed.
Yeah, so...
You choose weird comments, Daniel.
No, because I want to ask, like, what is the worst I knocked over the glass...
Oh, it'd have to be like a public situation.
Moment for... Well, no.
Or very expensive.
That's what I was going to say. He just emptied the last of the bottle into the glass.
Right.
And then knocked it over and it's gone now.
It was just a bourbon, though. But the last of anything's going to be hard.
I did knock a whiskey glass right into a laptop once.
Is that why you got a new laptop?
It wasn't that one.
Yeah, the one before that.
No.
Because that's relatively new.
No. It was a PC.
Susan Olsen. I tend to notice whiskey a little more in TV shows and movies nowadays.
Yes.
Anyone ever tried Talisker? It made an appearance on Good Omens.
Oh, yeah. So I haven't gotten that far in Good Omens, but I will say that once I got into whiskey, I did start to notice whiskey in like Deadwood, all the old Western shows.
Sure.
As soon as they pull out bottles.
Yeah. I
went back and started watching not Tombstone. I did watch Tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
Look for whiskey labels. There's none that I can find. It's all generic old things. Lonesome Dove, we started watching again. That's old school. Looking, anytime they're in a bar, I'm always like, oh, I wonder what whiskey it is.
We were, my wife and I are rewatching The Office for like the fourth time. And the episode we saw last night had scotch in it.
Oh.
Because
did they show it?
They did. It was Johnny Walker Black.
Oh.
2 bottles of Johnny Walker Black because Michael knew he was going to have to talk himself down from a situation that was about to happen. It's either going to be the best thing that ever happened in his life or the worst thing that ever happened in his life. And the receptionist is going through, is like, where does this go? That's the happy box. Where does this go? It's the sad box. And he pulled out 2 bottles of scotch, Johnny Walker. Yeah. That's the sad box. I'm like, no, it's the happy box. Happy box, Michael Scott.
Oh, well,
so, yeah, it's like I think it's a worthy addition to the craft lineup here in the States.
yeah, but I gotta tell you, man, it's...
I sense an opinion.
So what I find is that I generally don't like American craft beers when they were really starting out, because the overwhelming direction of a lot of the newbies was hops. Let's go crazy on hops.
Okay.
Now that once the craft movement really spread and exploded, that variety took over, and now there's everything.
Well, I think
right?
there's an element of survival of the fittest in the marketplace. Right?
Yeah.
Whenever a craft scene is relatively new, the only thing I want from them is to just make cool, weird, new, interesting shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And in beer, apparently hops was kind of the unexplored territory.
Let's just go crazy on hops.
In whiskey, it's different directions, there's different notes, but I just want them to make that stuff. And the market will dictate what are the notes that really need to be focused on and moved forward.
So all I'm saying is I think when it comes to craft bourbon specifically,
right,
but a lot of craft in general, what I always, as soon as someone says it's a small little distillery from my state, the first thing I think is, oh great, I'm about to taste pine.
No,
it is
I get what you're
a
saying.
large percentage of the time that I find that.
I get what you're saying, but I think because you and I so do not enjoy that note.
Yes, it stands out for me.
Yes, the sappy green pine. I think it's probably realistically about 35-40%.
It might be, but
it's less than half.
My whole point is
that it's very common.
There are people who desperately love hops and fell in love with that craze, right?
Yeah.
And there are people who love peat and people who don't. And there are people who love bourbons and people who aren't a fan, right? I'm not a fan of this one thing that tends to show up in all the crafts, but there are a lot of people that are.
Right.
But because it's not my preferred territory,
it is.
I'm starting to go, with a lot of these crafts, I'm starting to go, oh. And then when they don't have that, I think I give them a whole lot of credit.
More credit because
because I'm like, I found one.
Fair enough. Here's to fighting, stealing, and drinking.
If you fight me, a fight for a friend.
Steal, may you steal a lover's heart.
And if you drink, may you drink with us.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us in the Whiskey Vault. Don't forget to throw in a like, hit that subscribe button on the bottom right, and drop a question or comment down below.